Hey guys, Stephanie here, and I'm back with more movie chatter. And if this is your first time here, I want to thank you for checking out my channel. If it's not your first time here, welcome back. And this is a movie channel, so everything I talk about here is movie related. I do reviews, top 10 lists, collection updates, and videos like this one that I post every Wednesday called Weekend Watch. And it's a segment where I give you some suggestions for Blu-rays and rentals to watch at home, as well as a few choices for those of you who want to head out and see a movie in the theater. So if this is the kind of content you're interested in, definitely hit that subscribe button and the bell notification so you'll know when I upload my videos. And before I get to my picks of the week, I just want to let you guys know that we're still in that new release slump. I haven't seen anything that really was overwhelmingly great that I wanted to really get behind. I mean, I've seen a few things that were okay, but nothing really blew me away. So I've taken to the archives again, and this week I'm kind of going with a theme. And these are movies, my picks this week are movies that surprised me. These are the ones that I went into with managed expectations and I was pleasantly surprised, and hopefully you will be as well. Now, my first one was actually a Best Picture nomination for the last Academy Awards 2018 Academy Awards. It was up for Best Picture, and it is Phantom Thread starring Daniel Day-Lewis. And I had not seen this movie until about a week ago. And the reason I hadn't seen it is because I thought the trailer looked so underwhelming. It just looked so boring. I thought to myself, how am I going to sit and watch a guy make dresses for 2 hours and be entertained? So I had no intention of seeing this. I was in Best Buy roaming around, and I picked it up and I looked at it, and the guy standing next to me said to me, "That is a great movie. He's like, if you haven't seen it, you really need to watch it." So I said, all right, I'll pick it up. This is another person saying that it's great, so I picked it up. So I am talking to the people out there who, like me, have not seen this movie because you were afraid that it was going to be boring. I can tell you it is anything but boring. This movie is not boring at all. Daniel Day-Lewis plays a gentleman by the name of Reynolds. Reynolds is a dressmaker, but he caters to a very high-end clientele. He does aristocrats and debutantes, socialites, actresses. You get my drift. So that's his clientele. He is also a very rigid man. He is a very stoic man. He's a very OCD person. He doesn't deviate from his routine. He has a certain way of doing everything, and as far as he's concerned, his way is the only way. Right down to how you butter your toast, pour your tea, eat your breakfast. It's crazy. And he lives with his sister, who is also a very stoic, strong, quiet woman, but she's a very stern person. And she has the job of telling the women in Reynolds' life when he's had enough of them. She, with Reynolds, decides when it's time for them to leave, and she has the job of telling them that it's time for them to go. And this is how the movie starts out. We see her, talking to him about asking the girl that's there to leave. And he's annoyed with how much noise she makes at breakfast. So you kind of get a picture of who he is right from the start. And his sister suggests that Reynolds go off to their country house and take a break. And on his way to the country house, he decides to pull off and go to a cafe and have breakfast, where his attention is caught by one of the waitresses there. She kind of trips, and it makes him laugh, and he's taken with her right away. And her name is Alma. And he gets to talk to her. She comes over to take his order, and he starts to talk to her, and he asks her ultimately if he can take her to dinner. She says yes. So we follow them on their first date, and there are just red flags galore going up. You can immediately see he's very candid about who he is. He tells her he's a confirmed bachelor, he has no interest in marriage, and she's not deterred. She says to him, I don't know who you're being strong for, but don't be strong for me. She believes that, he's putting up a front. And it really is who he is, but she's not deterred. So they start this relationship, and that is what the movie's about. It's really a character study about his character, her character, and their relationship. And let me tell you, it is not boring. This movie, it goes along at a nice clip. It moves along at a nice clip. And each part of the movie just builds on each other. So there is never a dip or a lull. I never felt like I was being dragged through the movie. I was never bored. The costumes are beautiful. They are gorgeous. Daniel Day-Lewis gives one of the best performances I think I've ever seen him in. He's fantastic. And it's just really interesting. The dynamics of their relationship, it's some of the wackiest things I've ever seen, but it's so good. It's so intriguing. And I can tell you, this movie it really surprised me from beginning to end. So if you've not seen it because you're afraid that it's going to be boring, take the plunge and see it, because it's really, really good. And you will be very surprised at how this goes. The things that happen in this relationship, it's not anything I've ever seen before. And there's a lot of symbolism in there. There's a lot of things going on. It's a very deep, layered film. Very, very good. I think it's high rewatchability, because I think every time you watch it, you're going to pick up on other things that you didn't see the first time or the time before that. It's really a good movie and a safe blind buy. I'm going to link it in the description below so you can pick it up right on Amazon. But, I mean, if you want to stream it, if you're not sure about buying it, but I really believe that it's worth a buy. So, yeah, Phantom Thread totally surprised me, totally blew me away. So, yeah, and this is one of the first films that has surprised me in a very long time. So, yeah, I can't recommend it enough. And this second one, this is from 2012. It stars Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston. And this is called Wanderlust. I saw this in theaters. I went in. I kind of didn't know what to expect, because I am an admittedly hard sell when it comes to comedies. This was hilarious. This is a great movie. Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston play a young couple. They're living in New York City. They're doing the whole New York thing. They both have careers. He ends up losing his job, and they determine that they can't live on her salary alone. So they decide that they're going to leave New York temporarily. Jennifer Aniston's character does not want to leave New York, but they kind of have no choice. They can't afford to stay, so they're going to Atlanta to work, so Paul Rudd's character can work with his brother. His brother has some kind of business that he's going to work at. And obviously they get there, things do not work out. It's a disaster from the first second. It's a disaster. So they decide to pack their car and leave, and on the road they determine that, you know, they're tired, they need to get a room. So they see what they believe is a bed and breakfast. It's called Elysium. They pull off, and they are greeted by a man who's fully nude. And this is where we go from here. They find out that they can get a room there, but it is not a bed and breakfast. It is a commune, and all these people live there, and they're kind of hippies, but they're, you know, they're very love and peace and accepting, and they're very happy to have these guys in, you know, staying in the house. And they tell them they can stay as long as they want. So they decide that they're happy there, and they decide to stay. And this movie follows their adventures living in a commune. It is so good. There are so many funny moments. It's well written. I don't want to go into too much, because this is another one of those movies that you really want to experience the plot for yourself, because it's much funnier that way. But it's really, really good. And there's so many things that go on there. There's cringeworthy things. There's funny things. There's sweet things. It's just a really, really good time, and it's definitely adult content. It's rated R. It's rated R for a reason. There's sex, there's drugs, there's all kinds of things going on. But if you want a good laugh, definitely check out Wanderlust. And again, I'm going to link it in the description. I'll link it to Amazon, because this is definitely, it's worth the blind buy, and there is also high rewatchability in it, because every single time I watch this, I just die laughing. It is so, so good. And like I said, Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston are so good together. It's really, really good. Wanderlust. And this last one comes from Studio A24. Brought us films like Lady Bird and Moonlight and The Vanishing of Sydney Hall. They just keep cranking them out. And this one was an Academy Award nominee in 2016 for Best Original Screenplay. It stars Annette Bening, Elle Fanning, and Greta Gerwig. And it is called 20th Century Women. Again, I only watched the trailer, and I thought to myself, well, this is one of those films that they either showed the best parts in the trailer, or it's going to be phenomenal. Thank goodness it was the latter. It is phenomenal. It takes place in the late 70s. Annette Bening is a single mom, and it's kind of got that hippie feel. She has a big house, and she's got people who rent rooms from her. Billy Cudrup plays one of them, Greta Gerwig plays another, and then Elle Fanning plays one of the neighbors who's constantly hanging around the house. And Annette Bening decides that she's concerned about her son, because she thinks he's coming to an age where she wants the input from the people around her. And she tells them that, you know, she approaches each one of them and says, you know, you see him in the real world, you see him in ways that I don't see him. So she wants their help in guiding him through life and through his, you know, things that he's eventually going to come to in life, relationships and everything. And what ends up happening is these people kind of form a makeshift family, and they live together as a family, and they're all working together to help each other. And it's a really amazing film. Annette Bening gives one of her best performances. She's fantastic. Greta Gerwig is so good. She just melts into her character. The dialogue between all the characters is great. I mean, this is just really, really surprised me. It's a great movie. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. It's not a chick flick. This is a great movie. 20th Century Women. Again, I'm going to link it in the description because high rewatchability. It's a good time. It's a very heartfelt movie. Very, very, very good watch. So yeah, 20th Century Women. It's a good one. So those are my picks for home for this week. And as for the theater, we still have Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Won't You Be My Neighbor? That is doing great. It's being so well received. The Incredibles is still out there. Sicario is out there. And then this week, the big one that's opening is Ant-Man and Wasp, which is the new one from Marvel. So if you're a fan of Marvel Universe, definitely check out the trailer for that one because it really looks like it's going to be a good time. And, you know, Marvel is Marvel, and they've been hitting it out of the park, so I can't imagine it's going to be bad. I loved the first Ant-Man, so I'm really looking forward to that one. And then there's another one, a comedy. It's called Sorry to Bother You. And I watched the trailer. It gets really high marks on Rotten Tomatoes, so the critics seem to like it. It's a comedy. It's about a guy who becomes a telemarketer, and seems like he's never really been good at anything. And Danny Glover's in it also, and Danny Glover kind of tells this kid the secret to being a great telemarketer, and this kid rises to like the pinnacle of the telemarketer career. But it looks to be a really good time, so I would definitely check that one out. So those are my picks for theater, and that kind of does it for my picks for the week. Hopefully you guys find something in either the home pile or the theater pile that works, and you can go out and have a good time or stay home and have a good time. It's awfully hot out. So I want to thank you guys as always for watching, and I'm going to be back real soon. I'm going to start getting into some Criterion collection updates because we have the big Criterion sale going on at Barnes & Noble right now, the 50% off sale, so I've started to pick up some titles. I'm going to start going over those, so you have that to look forward to. And I want to thank you guys as always for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. Anything you can do is awesome. I really appreciate it. And again, I'm going to be back real soon. So for today, that's a wrap.